control of it.
Hi, I'm Jason McCartney.
And I'm Sean Ryan, and I'm a field umpire in the Australian Football League.
Today, Sean and I are going to take you through what it takes to become a Level One umpire, which is the first step in giving you the opportunity to hopefully one day officiate an AFL match, just like Sean.
This DVD will take you through all the information and knowledge you require to obtain your Level One accreditation for a field, boundary or goal umpire.
So let's get it underway, beginning with the qualities of an umpire. Umpiring a football match is a challenging role. Some matches are played in an environment where conflict can be present. Umpires require strong character if they are to cope with the umpiring environment in a positive manner. Umpires provide leadership and guidance to participants, ensuring the match is conducted in a safe and fair manner. Qualities like integrity, honesty, trustworthiness and respect provide a strong reference points for the umpire in terms of what they do, say and are. Every action of an umpire can be linked to the qualities of an umpire. How they behave and relate to others before, during and following the match, and how they project and protect the role of the umpire. Everything an umpire does and is can be related to their personal qualities. These qualities refer to one's principles or standards and one's judgments of what is valuable or important in life. In umpiring they include integrity, honesty, impartiality, trust and respect. One of the most important roles of the umpire is to relate to others before, during and often following the match. The adage of treating people as you would like to be treated provides an appropriate model for relating to others in the football environment. All players and others associated with the match should be treated with respect. The AFL aims to improve opportunities available to non-traditional participants in football, including people with a disability. In all instances, umpires should focus on what the person can do rather than what they can't. Think ability, not disability. For example, a player who is hearing impaired may continue playing for a second or two until they realise that the whistle has sounded for play to stop. Other people often judge all umpires by how an individual umpire behaves, hence the need for a professional and responsible approach when dealing with players, coaches, administrators and others involved with the match.
The Australian football laws of the game place upon the umpire the responsibility to manage the match both on and off the ground on behalf of the controlling body. This is a significant responsibility. To the players, coaches, officials and spectators, the match in which they are participating is the most important match played that day. There are a great number of factors that contribute to the umpire's success and enjoyment. The first of those is to understand the role of the umpire, which can be simply put as follows. Interpret and apply the basic laws according to the spirit of the laws. Attend to the administrative requirements necessary for the successful staging of the match, and ensure a safe environment for the participants.
Attitude is often the reason why some people are successful and some are unsuccessful. A positive, enthusiastic and responsible attitude towards umpiring can be demonstrated at training sessions, at coaching sessions and in your general approach to umpiring. This can be done by actively encouraging others, receiving and discussing feedback and ensuring all work is completed to schedule and meets the required standard.
All umpires have a responsibility to contribute to the creation of an image that portrays umpiring in a professional and positive light and as an attractive sporting career to other people. People associated with football have certain expectations of umpires. They expect them to be trustworthy, a person who is honest and impartial; responsible, a person who has integrity and takes the role seriously; prepared for their role, a person who is physically and mentally prepared for the task; and competent, a person who has the skills for the task.
Interpersonal skills are demonstrated when communicating, relating and interacting with other people. There will be many opportunities on match days for umpires to practice interpersonal skills. These occur before, during and after the match. Before the match, report to a home club official to advise them of your arrival and ask where the umpire's room is. And at all times, players and club officials should be treated with respect.
Umpires become involved with umpiring for a range of reasons. That may include to maintain an association with the game, to keep fit, to earn a few dollars, to meet people, or to do something with their friends.
Preparation for umpiring the match is an important responsibility of the umpire. It includes revising the laws of Australian football before matches, knowledge of location of match, teams and start time, and ensuring that you're in a good mental and physical condition to umpire the match. The field umpire is responsible for controlling the match, assisted by goal and boundary umpires. That is the task of closely viewing the match and applying the laws to situations that arise. Umpires need to be physically fit to enable them to consistently maintain the best possible position in relation to play from which to adjudicate, resist the effects of fatigue and maintain optimum concentration levels.
The role of nutrition in achieving maximum performance on the sporting field is now well recognised. As well as being a key ingredient in achieving peak performance, a nutritionally sound diet is essential for the umpire's immediate and future health. Improving umpiring performances is a goal of most umpires regardless of what level they officiate. How that is achieved will depend on a number of factors including accessibility of coaches or experienced umpires, feedback provided on performances by umpiring personnel and others, and provision of support and encouragement for umpires for improvement.
Risk management is a priority and involves keeping risk exposures to a minimum to reduce injuries and potential loss. The completion of a match day checklist is compulsory by clubs and they must ensure it's completed prior to the commencement of play. The umpire has a duty of care to ensure that the ground is safe for the commencement of a match. Fulfilling that duty of care involves the umpire personally inspecting the ground and surrounds for any hazard. It's the responsibility of the clubs to ensure any issues are managed before play can commence. The umpiring environment on match day can be challenging. It can become very emotional with players, officials, coaches and supporters keen to see their team do well. Often the umpire becomes the focus of attention. Developing strategies to cope with the environment is an important activity. It's important that the umpires project themselves to the players and officials in a firm, friendly and confident manner. It's good practice to always meet the captain and coach and, if possible, all players before the match. It's very important for the umpires to get on with the players during the match. Abuse from players or officials warrants some action from the umpire. Offenders should be spoken to and, if serious enough, they should be reported. It's important for the umpire to block out the comments from outside the boundary line, much of which will not be supportive or complimentary. Umpires need to be aware that supporters get emotional and vocal with their support of their team and players, and that generally the verbal attack on players and umpires is not a personal attack. Umpires should focus on key aspects of umpiring, for example, where they are positioned and where the play is at the time, to assist them get their mind back on umpiring if they have been distracted. After a match, feelings can run high and umpires should avoid becoming involved in any argument about incidents during the match. Sensible discussion about the match is to be encouraged. Politely avoid people who wish to belittle umpires. Post-match is a good opportunity to discuss the match and to get to know the players and officials from participating clubs in a more relaxed environment. If the atmosphere turns a little tense, the umpires should excuse themselves and leave.
The umpire is responsible for managing a match and enforcing the laws. Umpires could be deemed negligent and may be held legally responsible if they fail to act as a sensible person would do and an injury to a player results. Negligence is the failure to show reasonable care and occurs when harm results from an unacceptable degree of carelessness. An umpire must take all reasonable steps to see that injury is avoided. To act sensibly, an umpire has the responsibility to enforce the laws of the game, control the match, ensure that equipment used is safe, enforce safety guidelines regarding blood and infectious diseases policies, stop a match if conditions, including weather, become hazardous, and protect the participants. For example, ensure that facilities are safe, such as goalposts are padded, cricket pitches covered, and sprinkler outlets are covered. Umpires have always had these responsibilities to ensure that matches are conducted safely and with a minimum of injury risk. Effective people management skills are attributes which are common to successful umpires. Examples are being courteous, a good listener, a clear speaker, acknowledging others, respectful of others' opinions, and projecting positive body language. Words used by the umpire in communicating why a decision was made can have a positive effect on players and help to build a relationship and develop rapport with players. When communicating with players, umpires should use strong, firm, and clear voice. This portrays composure. Umpires should avoid screaming or shouting. This portrays a lack of composure, which creates anxiety in players. Players who experience anxiety with umpires quickly lose confidence in them. Players like to feel confident about the umpire. Umpires should work at developing good communication techniques. The words please and thanks never go astray. For example, move back on the mark 2 metres please.
The umpire's duties are not completed once the final siren has sounded. There is a range of paperwork associated with a football match, and some of these tasks may include filling out the following: team sheets, match reports, timekeepers cards, interchange steward sheets, scorecards, match result card, and best and fairest votes. One of the responsibilities of an umpire is to report reportable offences. It is important that the umpire carries out the correct procedures at the time of the report and following the match in terms of completing the paperwork. Attendance and performance at the tribunal is also an important element in the total reporting procedure. Following the match, the following steps are taken with a reportable offence. Compile detailed notes at the end of the match or halftime, whichever is appropriate. Complete the report form, taking care to complete it accurately and have a colleague check it. Sign each copy of the report form and distribute copies of the report form to a representative from each club. The field umpire would normally distribute the report form to club representatives. Never discuss the report with players or officials after the match.
The Australian Football League is responsible for publishing the laws of Australian football. It's crucial that umpires have a basic knowledge and understanding of the laws. Most infringements occur in the contest for the ball and in the tackling of the player in possession of the ball. To assist umpires develop their skills in these areas, it's crucial that they have a good understanding of the spirit of the laws. The player whose prime objective is to contest the ball, or bump or shepherd an opponent, shall be permitted to do so. A player may be fairly met by use of the hip, shoulder, chest, arms or open hand, or be pushed or bumped in the chest or side, or they may be shepherded, provided the ball is not more than 5 metres away. Solid but legal bumps are permitted, and all breaches of the laws shall be penalised. A player makes prohibited contact with an opposition player if they hold an opposition player who is not in possession of the ball, make contact with any part of an opposition player's body above the shoulders or below the knees, push an opposition player in the back, push, bump, hold or block an opposition player when the football is further than 5 metres away or is out of play, charges an opposition player, trips or attempts to trip an opposition player, whether by the use of hand, arm, foot or leg, holds or throws an opposition player after that player has disposed of the ball, kicking or attempting to kick the football in a manner likely to cause injury, or bumps or makes forceful contact to an opponent from front on when that player has their head down over the ball. The player who has possession of the ball and has had an opportunity to dispose of it and is then tackled correctly by an opponent must immediately kick or handball the ball. If the player has had a reasonable time to dispose of the ball by kick or handball after taking possession and before being tackled, then provided the tackle is legal, the player must dispose of the ball by kick or handball, otherwise they are penalised for failing to dispose of the ball in a legal manner. If the tackle pins the ball to the player in possession, then they are penalised for holding the ball. No prior opportunity, reasonable time. The player who has possession of the ball and is tackled correctly by an opponent shall be given a reasonable time to kick or handball the ball, or attempt to kick or handball the ball. If the player has not had a reasonable time to dispose of the ball by kick or handball after taking possession and before being tackled, then provided the tackle is legal, the player in possession is then given reasonable time to attempt to dispose of the ball. If they fail to attempt to do so when given a reasonable time, then they are to be penalised for holding the ball. The player whose prime objective is to contest the ball shall be permitted to do so. Where an infringement is observed, a free kick must be awarded. Where there is incidental interference, when the ball is the prime objective, it is play on. When a player leaps early, the attempt must be realistic, as in they must be able to touch the ball. The laws are to be interpreted to provide every opportunity for players who are legitimately attempting to contest the ball to do so.
To explain the laws related to boundary umpiring, I'll hand over to Adam Coote, a Level 2 accredited boundary umpire in the Australian Football League.
Thanks, Jason. The boundary umpire is the sole judge when the ball is out of bounds or out on the full, except when the field umpire awards a mark before the ball passes completely over the boundary line or awards a free kick. Having been kicked, when the ball passes over the boundary line or touches a behind post, but before doing so touches the ground or is touched by a player, it is considered to be out of bounds. The boundary umpire faces the field umpire, blows their whistle loudly and signals to the field umpire with one arm extended straight above their head with their hand open. Having been kicked, when the ball passes completely over the boundary line without touching the ground within the playing surface or being touched by a player, it is considered to be out of bounds on the full. This is also the case if the football has touched the behind post or passed over the behind post without touching the ground or being touched by a player. The boundary umpire blows their whistle loudly and extends their arms horizontally straight out at shoulder height while keeping their hands open. After a goal has been scored, it's the boundary umpire's responsibility to retrieve the ball and return it to the field umpire in the centre square as quickly as possible. The boundary umpires decide who will retrieve the ball, but usually it is the boundary umpire closest to the ball. The other boundary umpire will indicate to the field umpire which side of the oval the ball is to be returned and then position themselves about halfway between the goal line and the end of the centre square. The boundary umpire who retrieves the ball will run to the second boundary umpire, who will by then be running at the same pace, and on reaching them will relay the ball, then sprint to the nearest corner of the centre square on their side of the ground. The second boundary umpire will relay the ball to the field umpire and continue on to the far corner of the square on their side of the oval, with the last 5 paces being run backwards into the point of the square. Boundary umpires are to remain on the same side of the oval throughout each quarter. The boundary umpire is the sole judge as to whether a player has stepped completely over the line at the centre square. The player may lean over the line, but immediately their foot completely crosses the line, the boundary umpire will blow their whistle, point in the direction of the team to receive the resultant free kick, and if possible, call the number of the offending player and their club, then quickly move off in the direction of the scoring zone of the team which has been awarded the free kick. Players are not permitted to enter the square from the time the field umpire commences their approach to bounce or throw the ball up until the ball touches the ground in the act of bouncing or is thrown up.
Now, to explain the laws related to goal umpiring, let's hand it over to Chris Appleton, who is a Level 2 accredited goal umpire in the AFL.
Thanks, Jace. The first law we're going to talk about is the all clear scenario. The all clear is given to the goal umpire by both word of mouth and visual confirmation, and indicates to the goal umpire that the field umpire does not propose to award a mark or free kick, and therefore the goal umpire is at liberty to signal a goal or a behind. The score is signalled by raising the index finger or fingers, both for a goal and one for a behind, then waving of the flag or flags, and then registering the score on the goal umpire's scorecard. The goal umpire cannot signal a score until the all clear has been received from the field umpire. If the ball has passed over the goal or behind line and the goal umpire is in doubt as to whether the field umpire has given the all clear, they should run out and consult the field umpire to obtain information. If the field umpire confirms all clear, the goal umpire then returns to the scoring area and signals and records a score. If the field umpire observes that the ball is touched by a player before it crosses the goal or behind line, they should call and indicate touched or clear to the goal umpire. If the ball is kicked off the ground while a player has their hand on it, or the ball is kicked from another player's hands and the ball crosses the goal or behind line, the field umpire should, unless they award a free kick for an infringement of the laws, call and indicate touched or clear. Although the goal umpire is the final judge of the goals and behinds, they cannot signal a goal if the field umpire has called and indicated touched or clear. If touched or clear is given by the field umpire, but the goal umpire is certain that the correct score is a goal, they must run to the field umpire and quickly explain events as they saw them and request all clear. If the field umpire is of the opinion that the score is a goal, they will raise both hands to their mouth when giving the verbal all clear. A behind, one hand to the mouth when giving the verbal all clear. If uncertain, they will stop, look directly at the goal umpire, put their hands at their side and give all clear verbally. If the ball hits the goal post, they will raise one forearm vertically at right angles to their upper arm, tap it 3 times with the other hand, then put their hand to their mouth and call all clear. It should be noted that the visual signal by a field umpire is a guide only. The goal umpire is the final judge of the score, except in the case of touched or clear. Subject to the all clear signal by a field umpire, a goal is scored when the ball is kicked over the goal line by a player of the attacking side without the ball touching a player or a goalpost. Subject to the all clear signal by the field umpire, a behind is scored when the ball passes over the behind line without touching a behind post, strikes a goal post. This includes the back of the goal post from an angle kick, flag, or knob on top of the post. Passes over a goal post even though the major portion of the ball is on the goal side of the post. Is touched by a player before it passes over the goal or behind line. Is carried over the goal or behind line by a player of either side. Or is handballed over the goal or behind line by a player of either side. If the ball is marked on the goal or behind line by a player and the ball had not passed over the line when marked, even though the player may be over the line, a score should not be registered. It is the position of the ball, not the player, that dictates the matter. If a ball kicked, punched or knocked from inside the playing arena, strikes or directly passes over the behind post, it shall be out of bounds. The goal umpire has authority to overrule the boundary umpire if they disagree as to whether the ball has crossed the behind line or had gone directly over the behind post. Goal umpires must check scores with each other at the end of each quarter. They will then indicate to the attendants on the scoreboard as to the correctness of the scores by waving flags if they are correct. In the event of the scores being incorrect, goal umpires will attract the attention of the attendants by walking towards the scoreboard and having the error amended by the scoreboard attendant. If the goal umpires are unable to attract the attention of the scoreboard attendants, they are not to wave all clear. It is the duty of goal umpires to keep a record of all goals and behinds scored. For goals, record them on the scorecard on return to the centre of the goal after replacing flags. For behinds, wait for the kick out and mark the card after the next act of play, which takes the ball away from the goal area, or during a stoppage of play, for example, out of bounds or a free kick. When a behind is scored at the other end of the ground, write down your score immediately after replacing your flag. The normal procedure to follow in the sequence of signalling and recording a score is: receive all clear from field umpire, signal relevant score, move to appropriate goalpost and take out flag or flags. For a goal, move to the centre of the goal line and wave a score. For a behind, step away from the goalpost in the goal area and wave score as quickly as possible. Replace flag or flags and move back to the centre of the goal and record on scorecard.
Where the field umpire is of the opinion that a player is actively bleeding, the field umpire must stop play at the first available opportunity, blow time on, and direct the player to immediately leave the playing surface. The replacement player may enter the playing surface prior to the bleeding player crossing the line. The replacement player is to be given a reasonable time to take up their position prior to play recommencing.
It is important that the umpire carries out the correct procedures at the time of the report and following the match in terms of paperwork. The procedure is as follows. You must identify the reportable incident, stop the match and blow time on. Advise the offender and the player offended against at the time of the incident. Make a brief note in your notebook at the time of the report, for example, the player's numbers and offence. Send the offending players off where local rules indicate, and blow time off and recommence the match.
While the control of a match is a major responsibility of the field umpires, boundary and goal umpires play a very important role in supporting the field umpires. There are a number of factors that contribute to effective control for umpires, the most critical being the manner in which they go about their tasks. First, umpires are decision makers. Accordingly, they have to have the courage of their convictions to make the right decisions, irrespective of the circumstances, whenever the need to make a decision arises. Confidence can be demonstrated by a strong, long whistle. Field and boundary umpires should blow it hard. Verbal communication of the decision. Push in the back, your free kick number 7, but use the player's name if known. Visual signals and indications being performed in the correct manner. Show everybody why. Then go. Move promptly to take up position for the next act of play. Blow, show, go.
Maintaining the best possible position in relation to play from which to adjudicate is the most important skill in an umpire's preparation. Accurate and consistent decision making can only occur if the umpire gets a good look at the incident. Visual signals and indications are a very important means of communicating a decision. A range of standard signals and indications have been developed with a view to creating consistency among umpires. The manner in which the signal is performed is very important. It should be performed in a positive, clear and decisive manner, leaving no doubt in people's mind as to the confidence the umpire has in the decision. The umpire should not be too flamboyant with the signal, but animated enough to convey the message. When performing signals and indications, always keep the players under observation.
The whistle should always be blown strongly. A strong, long whistle reflects confidence. Bouncing of the football by the field umpire is unique to Australian football and a feature of the match. It's a skill that needs plenty of practice, as the expectations are that the umpire will bounce the ball straight and high. There are no precise specifications for a good bounce. However, expectations will be satisfied if the bounce is such that a fair contest between ruckmen results. The ball should be thrown into a distance of between 10 and 15 metres and not less than 3 metres high.
The umpires need to work as a team to ensure the smooth conduct of the match. A cooperative approach is important on match day to assist each of the umpires to carry out their roles in the most effective manner.
The field umpire has an important leadership role on match day. It includes working with a range of officials both on and off the field, including officials who ensure the smooth conduct of the match.
The umpire has an important role following a report. It includes working with a range of people to ensure the smooth conduct of the tribunal. It is important that the umpires are aware of the major requirements of an umpire at a tribunal hearing. The following are some of the key elements the umpire should be familiar with at the tribunal. The umpire should arrive at the tribunal in plenty of time, looking neat and well presented. When giving their evidence, they should be positive, forthright and honest. They should say exactly what they saw and or heard when presenting their evidence or in response to questions about the incident. They should avoid vague responses or comments like might have been, possibly or maybe. At the completion of the hearing, the umpire's job is finished, so they should ask to be excused. So there you have it, everything you need to become a Level 1 umpire.
Good luck with obtaining your accreditation, and hopefully I'll see you eventually out in the thick of the action with me, being part of the game in the AFL.
We'll catch you soon. Bye for now.